Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our community coffee hour for April. Welcome. Good morning again. It's great to see your faces. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
I am living the dream. How are you doing?
I'm well, long time no see.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, David, good morning. I'm seeing some familiar faces. How are you all?
Hey, morning, everyone.
All right,
Good morning.
we will give folks a moment to keep logging on before we get started with our brilliant co-hosts today, Miss Kelly Ryan and Eric King. No music today, folks. I'm sorry I let you down. I usually start these off with music. I know this is really Wednesday today. Forgot the music. Well, welcome to our April Community Coffee Hour. It is always great to have us all convene and find time to learn from one another. I'm so excited about today to introduce you to Eric King of Capital Youth Empowerment Program and Kelly Ryan from Empowering Our Youth Foundation. Before we jump in and get started, I have just a couple of notes to go over with my partner, Sarah, and the floor will be open to Eric and Kelly to answer all of our questions. So before we begin, if we can just learn who is in the room, aside from those folks I called out this morning, if you wouldn't mind typing in your name, your mentoring program, if you're affiliated with one, and your role, it would be greatly appreciated. Kayla, I cannot sing. No ma'am, you do not want to hear that. Oh, it's great to see everybody in here. Hey, Miss Lynn Ann, it's great to see you from Pretty Purposed, and Kayla from C4K. Great to have the partners we do. As you know, if you've been here before, the mission at Mentor Virginia is to make sure that we foster quality mentoring relationships that empower, elevate, and encourage young people. And we do so by making sure that everyone who wants a mentor has one that is trained of very high quality. We also provide services for programs who have a mentoring component. And we do that, of course, by providing training and professional development. We can collaborate to do workshop design. We also have an AmeriCorps Vista program that helps build program capacity, as well as no-cost consulting through our TAs, which is connected to the NMRC. And so for more information, if you have any questions about any of our services, you can hang around at the end of the coffee hour to ask any questions about that. Just a quick overview, some familiar faces you might see on the screen are our Mentor Virginia staff. Our brand new executive director is Ms. Virginia Patterson. Running our AmeriCorps Vista program, the capacity building program, is Tashara Void, the program director over here, and then Cindy Montalvo. My partner in crime, the programs manager who does so much more around here, Sarah Wilkinson, and then again myself, my name is Tiara Whitfield, and I'm the training and DEI programs manager. So that we can begin, we're gonna, just to give you a quick overview of our day, our morning today, we are gonna have a panel discussion with both Kelly and Eric after they introduce themselves. But before we get started, because we know we wanna talk about leveraging relationships and talk about funding, I wanted to know if you all had one funding question that you came here with today. And if you do, if you wouldn't mind also typing that into the chat. And we'll see if we can add some of these questions in on our panel sheet if they're not already there. And so without further ado, I would like to introduce Ms. Kelly Ryan, who is the founder of our EOY Foundation. She is a very passionate community builder in pursuit of effective and innovative changes in the child welfare system. Her personal experience as a foster youth in the system has cultivated a genuine desire to provide every young person with equal opportunity to succeed and thrive in life. Kelly is a graduate of North Carolina State University and has an extensive background in banking and finance. She has served on multiple nonprofit boards as a mentor with organizations like Boys and Girls Club, Junior Achievement, and the United Way. She believes with a carefully cultivated support system of motivators and mentors, every youth, regardless of their background, will soar. You want to say hi to our audience, Kelly, before I introduce Eric?
Good morning, everyone. This is Kelly, and it's a true pleasure to be here. So thank you. I'm real excited to share my experiences, and hopefully we can all learn together today. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. And also Eric King, a social entrepreneur, investor, and advisor with a focus on inclusive community development. He has over 19 years of experience in juvenile justice, affordable housing, and nonprofit leadership. Mr. King is a leader in sustainable inclusive growth within the National Capital Region and is the co-founder and executive director of the Capital Youth Empowerment Program, which provides social and economic empowerment programs, including fatherhood, workforce development, STEM, and teen sexual health. His unique approach of using evidence-based programming and culturally competent staff was shaped by his work with Fairfax County and Arlington County Court Services units. In addition, Mr. King recently founded King Consulting and Development Group, Inc., to support diversity and inclusion within university and corporate environments. He is an active Virginia Tech alumnus, serving on the Apex Systems Center for Entrepreneurship Board of Advisors, the Honors College Calhoun Discovery Program as a distinguished visiting lecturer, and as a member of the Black Alumni Association. He earned his degrees in sociology and political science at Virginia Polytech Institution in 2000. Good morning to you also, Eric. You want to say hi to our crew?
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. I can't wait to engage with the group and not only expose what I've been experienced to, but to learn from others.
All right, Eric and Kelly. So in typical panel discussion fashion, I am going to put you guys on the chopping block, so to speak, to answer questions. I will not be able to share my screen for this portion of it, so please excuse me, folks. If you do have a question, I'm going to ask that Sarah be my moderator of the raised hands, and we will go ahead and proceed. And so first question is for both of you all. We just want to learn a little bit more about you outside of the lovely biographies I just read. So can either of you tell us a little bit about yourself and the history of your organizations, please?
Sure, I'll go first. I'm pretty new. I started EOI a little over a year ago. I'm a proud former foster youth. Grew up in North Carolina and moved to Maryland about 15 years ago. Just moved to Virginia about 2 years ago. I wanted to do something a little different for foster youth, particularly those that are aging out of the system. So I founded Empowering Our Youth Foundation, EOY, and we work with foster youth that are aging out, trying to find them employment, and through mentoring, offering them a community of support. As a former foster youth, I fully believe that once these youth have a good support system, they can truly soar. We're a bit unique in our foundation in that we focus on job opportunities in the aviation and artificial intelligence industry. We work with Aqualine Drones in Hartford, Connecticut, where my partner is the Chief Innovation Officer. So we actually have a 6-month online drone program. So we can work with these youth that they can learn how to fly drones, fly for pay, and they work with mentors that have lived experience and or are in the aviation or artificial intelligence industries. So that's in a nutshell what we do.
Thank you, Kelly. Eric?
I use a visual aid because I know some folks are visual learners like myself. Capital Youth Empowerment Program was founded in 2008. While I was in juvenile probation work in Arlington County, founded this organization on the side. We support economic mobility and healthy lifestyles for underserved people through skill development through a variety of programs. And our current service area is Fairfax County, Arlington County, the city of Alexandria. And last year we expanded into Washington, D.C. What we have found is having multiple jurisdictions allows for access to multiple funding streams from localities as well as state and federal. And we'll talk a little bit about that later on. But the the more diverse populations you can work with, and the bigger pools of money you can tap into, the more successful you'll be in securing sustainable funding. Let's see here. Let's see if I can get to the next slide. We have a variety of programs. We have a fatherhood program, and it's a multi-generational approach. We believe that the family is so important, and so fatherhood is a core issue within the communities we serve. And so we started out with a program called Fathers in Touch. As we transition to workforce development, we call it Fathers in Tech, and we started that last year. And it's a combination of parenting skills and, kind of equipping the men and the fathers with those soft skills and prioritizing family along with workforce development skills. This program used to be just a workshop, but now we have a mentoring component to it, and we call them career coaches. And the career coaches work with the fathers throughout the 12 weeks, helping them to craft a plan to gain employment or find upskilling opportunities. We also have a program called Project Success that helps kids with healthy lifestyle choices, decision-making skills, communication around sexual health, and teen dating violence prevention. We've started to pilot a new program that added mentorship with that. We call that Level Up, and that is basically Project Success with a workforce development component to it. And then we also have a STEM decoded mentoring program, which is a STEM-based mentoring program where we have college kids mentoring fifth graders. And we have someone from NASA that works with the kids around STEM activities at the elementary school. So as you can see, it's a combo of that social engagement and gaining those skills, social emotional learning, along with the eye toward upward mobility. And that concludes my intro about our programs and the organization.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you both. Kelly, to you, you mentioned that you work with primarily foster care youth. What is your impact on youth development through mentoring, and how have your partners supported your goals?
That my immediate question to that is Mentor Virginia. You guys have been my #1 strategic partner. I would say I know a lot of the communities represented today on this call may have been in business for quite a lot longer than I have. But Mentor Virginia, through technical assistance, has just been an invaluable resource that has helped us get just those basic building blocks and grow slow and steady. My TA, Allison Roberts, hung the moon in my opinion, but I love her quote, I've been wanting to grow so fast, and she said, just say, it's not no, it's just no right now. So I love that phrase. But our impact, we're trying to, through Mentor Virginia, we're focusing on Northern Virginia and up and down the East Coast a little bit. And the impact we've made is to educate our community about the need for these foster youth that are aging out. It's been an interesting challenge because I don't know if it's Loudoun County, Prince William County, Fairfax County, particularly Loudoun County doesn't like to admit that there's a problem. And so that's been a really interesting impact. But we have been working with youth through social services, the high schools, Loudoun Educational Foundation, and just reaching out in the community to create awareness to find these youth that need our services. And working with partners like Mentor Virginia, we're able to approach these youth in a very strategic manner by saying we offer you a community of support, a defined program, a path of independence and confidence. So that's where we're primarily working with, I would say, juniors and seniors in high school that are preparing to age out. and talking to them about our STEM program and matching them with appropriate mentors. That's been helpful.
Thank you, Kelly, and definitely definite shout out from me to Allison as well. She's a bright, shining star. We're happy to have her as a consultant, longtime consultant with Mentor Virginia. Eric, same to you. You mentioned like engaging students and building on their social capital and social engagement skills as part of your impact to youth development. How have your partners supported your goals in that way?
So we have a variety of partners, and it's based on the programs. Originally, our programming partners were like stakeholders in the community, like the court services unit. Because of my career in that field, I have built natural relationships with social services, with the school systems, throughout various jurisdictions. And so having that capital, social capital to create legitimate partnerships, we're able to create MOUs, memorandums of agreement, and memorandums of understanding that help you toward obtaining funding, but also access to the students, right? And so it works both ways. That collaborative approach with these legitimate stakeholders are going to help you along the way, because when it comes to writing for a proposal or a grant, and they see that you're affiliated with the local government or the court service unit or the social services, it gives you immediate legitimacy. And so that to me is really important, is go to where the people are. If you have a local school system, create that partnership with the school system. They have a partnerships office, and then you have that MOU, and then you're armed to go out and secure funding through different grant opportunities, and you'll have that MOU to show for it. And then on the flip side, they're going to give you access to their students in the MOU, and it'll be written out. So those are some of the core ways that we've been able to do it. As we've grown, we've been able to create even bigger and better partnerships. I'm a alumni of Virginia Tech, and so being a professor of practice at Virginia Tech at the Calhoun Discovery Program, I've been able to create partnerships with corporate folks. So Boeing is a major partner there, Caterpillar. And so you start to create different partnerships. We have the Virginia Tech Innovation Campus, and we are now in talks with the STEM director there. And so you also want to look at the institutions of higher institution within your community, or if you're an alumni within a college that is local, you want to reach back to them and get more active. That is probably a hidden gem that most people don't do, and people don't understand the value of that reciprocal giving. But start to donate to the university, start to become more involved in boards and things of that nature. You'd be amazed at what type of networks you can tap into. And then once again, that institution of higher learning can be a partner. You do an MOU, you go after grant opportunities, you now have an education partner to pursue major grant funding. So that's another avenue, is universities. We've been able to take advantage of that on a couple of different occasions, and did some MOUs with the university, with Virginia Tech. So those are two ways, is institutions of higher learning and local government, where you can create partnerships, either access students or grow your legitimacy as an organization.
Thank you, Eric, for that. And so because you gave us examples of being able to expand on and grow some of our natural relationships, it sounds like a good place to start for folks would be doing some asset mapping and taking inventory of some of the relationships in their lives and some of like the stakeholder programs that they're already a part of, or within their orbit. Kelly, I'm going to pitch the same question over to you, because knowing that you're coming from a world of finance, which makes it a little bit different, even though you may have some backing behind you and some strategic partners, How did you identify and approach identifying those new partners and building strategic relationships with them?
Great question. I'm working with my board of directors. It's interesting. Being in banking for almost 20 years in North Carolina, I had such an alliance and network. I did commercial lending, mortgage lending, and worked with minority women starting their own businesses. And here in Virginia, we're really tapping into our contact base within our board of directors, which is a major strategic component. And so we've asked them to do everything. Eric is so spot on. Look at their alumni base. Look in your contacts. Who do you know on an individual donor basis that could help? You could partner with and meet with to ask who they know. And then also on a higher level, from a corporate perspective, we've asked them to, look into not only their own employment base, but also what corporate contacts they have. I've asked people, don't be shy is my main thing, because I've asked a lot of folks to just make the introduction from the Loudon Educational Foundation, so the educational networks. I'm going to a breakfast meeting tomorrow with the Chamber of Commerce to tap into more networking and resources. So right in accordance with what Eric said, on a government level, your local governments, the Department of Social Services, corporations that, being in Virginia, we have Amazon, we have Verizon, we have so many big corporate partners. But our challenge, unlike Eric, I think, is being so new. So we're really trying to create awareness. And then on a smaller organic level, working with local small businesses. I'm in Small Business Women in Loudoun County, and I've asked them to help me with fundraising. In May, we have Eat the Frog Fitness Center and a yogurt store that are going to do an all-day fundraiser. So to me, you can never be too small or too big. So we're trying to cover the whole spectrum as far as getting some core strategic corporate partnerships.
Thank you both for that. We did have a planned Q&A towards the end, but because the next couple of questions are changing focus a little bit, I do want to open up here and see if there are any lingering questions about relationships or finances from anyone in the audience.
I got a quick question. I'm not sure if I
Sure.
just supposed to speak up. How do you deal with when your area is flooded? Like, so, I'm a life coach for the City of Williamsburg Social Services. I help, people in certain programs do, resumes, find jobs, but like there's 900 me's in my area. So how do you combat with setting yourself apart or getting those people to come to you versus, the flooded market of what you do?
I'll answer real quickly. I approach it as we're all in this together, and I'm not afraid about stalking and reaching out to people. I hate to use the word stalking, but that's where I met a lot of people. And like to your point, Chris, there's a lot of people in this space. Some do and like to play better and nicer than others. And you just try to align yourself. And even if it's starting your own networking group of like-minded and other individuals in your space, I would highly recommend that. I just invited a bunch of other nonprofit leaders in my area that I wanted to learn from to our own coffee hour. And I've met so many great people in this space, both on social media and just reaching out to them, even on LinkedIn, and said, I have questions, I may be struggling, maybe we can help each other. And there's been a great reception. Eric, what about you? I don't know if you've had different experience with that.
Yeah, it's a marketplace and there's competition everywhere, just like in any industry. And so if you can differentiate yourself from others in the services that you bring and your approach, I think that's probably the most critical piece, is that people see you differently than they see the other 900 people. And if you can show or articulate that you have a different impact based on your approach, I think that can separate you from other folks.
And I also want to highlight what they both said, Chris, when it comes to like the partnerships that you have and the entities that may be behind you that may also help with your goals of, separating yourself and separating your services because that entity can also vouch for you. Anybody else before we move on? Kelly opened up a wormhole for my next question, but I do want to see if there's anything from anyone else in the audience. All right, cool beans. So thank you, Kelly, for leading me down this way. But how has your program leveraged social media to identify and cultivate strategic relationships? You mentioned LinkedIn. Are there any other platforms you're using?
Oh, absolutely. I found a digital services company that is helping us with social media posts. So we're on the normal Instagram, Facebook, haven't done TikTok yet, just don't know if I'm there yet. A little old for that, but a lot of the youth are like, all right, I'll get you to do a TikTok. But primarily Instagram and LinkedIn, and engaging others in that space has just, for a newbie, has been invaluable. It takes a lot of time. I don't have they did help me manage my post and the artistic piece of it, the actual, the posts themselves with the artwork and graphics, but it's up to you, your organization or someone in. We have just a few people working for it. So every opportunity I'm liking, I'm commenting, and I have made enormous connections through social media, some big players in the nonprofit space. And it's not just liking, but the engagement is so critical. And asking for help. Sixto Cancel is a great partner and friend. Think of us, and Fosterpreneur is on our board. Connect Our Kids. We're granting, and that's another great connection. You can find partners that will work with you on grants. We have a $10 million grant that we're working on with 2 other nonprofits. That came about solely through engagement on social media. And so I just, in the beginning, just Googled a lot of these potential partners. And
I'm sorry, Kelly, you quickly said $10 million. I just want to go back really quickly and highlight that, right? You're working on a $10 million grant, correct?
think big is all I can say. It's through the National Science Foundation. And that's another side, not social media, but sign up for grants.gov, Virginia Grant Watch. And I look at those daily, and there was we picked the number, it was unlimited, and it's still out there. They're renewing that grant through the National Science Foundation, Racial Equity and STEM Education. And Eric, you may already know about it, but you would benefit from it. So I reached out to 2 other nonprofits, and Aquiline Drones as a for-profit company, and then Sinclair College, and just proposed that we all get together. And the amount we came up with was 10 million. And we're waiting to hear back on that. So think big, find good strategic partnerships, but where I have been enormously lucky is on social media. And all these players, for the most part, I went to and started engaging with them on their posts, and then asked if we could do Zoom calls, coffees, and just have been very fortunate in that. And it's very imperative when you're new and even ongoing. Eric has so many great contacts and alliances, and I'm just kind of building that slowly. But don't be shy, because 99% of the time they're incredibly receptive.
Thank you for that, Kelly. I actually want to pitch the same question over to you, Eric, because I know you have so many diverse programs and students that are up and running and possibly helping you. So how do you all leverage social media to identify and cultivate strategic relationships?
Well, I would say we probably don't use it to cultivate relationships as much as we probably should. We do that the old-fashioned way of just relationship building in our network. But I do think that the social media creates a level of perception, and perception is everything. People don't know you, they don't know your programming. And how do you amplify that voice of what impact you're having in the community? And I think social media, you're not doing television commercials or radio commercials or things of that nature. what you're doing is you're leveraging that social media as a megaphone to let people know that you're doing work in the community, that you're collaborating with partners, that you're affiliated with other folks. And I think that's the real value, is it gives you a voice in this, in this world where there's so many different things competing for folks' attention. You have an opportunity, if you have good pictures and videos from the programming that you're doing, to let people know that you're out there, you're doing good work. And there's some things that can organically come out of that. We did redo our website this past year, and have invested in, social media, paid ads, things of that nature. And there has been more brand awareness for our organization. So we're using it more for brand awareness and some fundraising.
Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Coming down to the end of my list, I have about 2 more questions for you all before we open up questions to the audience and then possibly duck into some breakout rooms. One of my final questions is, what is the current trajectory for growth for your organization, or for, maybe one of the programs in your organization? I'm going to pitch that to you first, Eric.
All right, let's see if I can go back to this slide deck of mine, because this will be a good visual aid. All right, let's see here. So just to highlight, one of our big partnerships is with an advanced manufacturing. It's a DoD Advanced Manufacturing Innovation Institute, NextFlex. And there was a grant that we wanted to go after called the Fatherhood Fire Grant through HHS. And we didn't believe we were big enough. So we partnered with this bigger entity, and we were competitive and were awarded a $5 million grant. So partnerships with larger organizations, the government likes to give out, when it comes to federal grants, they like to be safe. And so if you can partner with a larger organization that the government will see as a safe entity, that they're not taking a major risk, I think it can add value. So this is just kind of a snapshot of how important these partnerships can be, is that we leverage that. We're getting about 80% of this grant. They're helping us manage the administrative aspect and the fiscal aspect of the grant, and we're doing the work. And this has been a major infusion of funding for our organization. And we're going to be able to leverage this into other federal grant opportunities, because now the government will see us as, wow, they're a safe bet. They were awarded this and they've been able to execute on it. So that's one way to punch above your weight, is strategic partnerships. Let me quickly, oh, there we go. So just to give you guys a snapshot of our current funding profile and our portfolio is, right now we're heavily, we're heavily loaded with federal grants, but those local grant dollars are what really got us going. And we're looking to increase that to around 400,000 this year. With the, as soon as they announce in the next month or two, that should bump up. The foundation, the local foundation grant, and the unrestricted dollar, I think, is critical. And so we're really looking to double each of these numbers, if not triple the unrestricted dollars, because if you're diverse and have a diverse funding portfolio, you look even more attractive to funders. And so that's been our focus, is let's get to that unrestricted dollar, that corporate dollar that wants to give to economic mobility, that wants to give to DEI, that wants to give to this new push for a Black Lives Matter, where it has alignment with our organization. So our focus is we're dialing in on unrestricted dollars through a fundraising effort, a major fundraiser that we're doing. And then we have a foundation, a major push to work on foundation grants. And it's not just looking at the local community foundations, it's also the corporate dollar, where we're engaging with, let's say, a Dominion Energy, and they have a foundation fund. We're looking at Truist. We're engaging, and the way to get to those dollars is relationship. It's not just applying. It's getting to those top decision makers, because when it comes down to it at a corporate level, when they make the decisions at the top for large amounts of funding, you're going to have those executives in there making those decisions. So that's all relationship. So when it comes to bringing in major dollars from corporate, whether it's through their foundation or philanthropic arm or through unrestricted, you're going to have those relationships. And the way to tap into that is through boards, being on the university boards and things of that nature, because that's where these people are. They're at country clubs or things of that nature. So you're going to have to put on your executive hat to build those relationships and leverage the folks that are on your board of directors that have these connections to tap in. And so for us, we're looking to get those dollars. As you can see, we don't have a lot of those dollars, but we are looking to grow. I started doing it full-time, CYEP full-time in 2019. Our budget was around 300,000. And as you can see, year after year, our budget continues to grow. So that's another piece that I'll throw out there, is being able to have a full-time effort to go after funding and to execute your vision and your programs is really, really important. We had flatlined for about 8 years at that $300,000 level. And even though there was a global pandemic, you see the trajectory of the organization. So this year it was 1.6. Next year it's probably going to be 2.2. And so it's continued growth. And one of the biggest pieces is the unrestricted dollar that we're looking to secure. We have an event around Juneteenth that we partnered with the Juneteenth Foundation. Once again, a strategic partnership with a national level organization, and Father's Day and Juneteenth are on the same day this year. So one of our board members is the founder of the Juneteenth Foundation. Once again, that network, leveraging your board, leveraging people you know. And so it's a 3-day event culminating at the African American History Museum in DC, where we're going to be highlighting our Fathers in Tech program. And there's major sponsorships, Amazon, like I said, Dominion Energy, Boeing, that are coming in to be a part of this. And there will be a pretty nice take home for CYEP. We're also having a celebrity golf tournament. So this is going to raise the profile of the organization and also help us punch above our weight when it comes to getting unrestricted dollars, because we're affiliated with something at a national level. So hopefully there was some great information there that people could glean on how to leverage partnerships and how to grow. And as you guys can see, we started with a modest budget, but we're able to grow with a really good vision, and then leveraging different collaborations and partnerships.
Thank you, Eric. Partnering with strategic partners is extremely important, as you've just seen. Also, going into grant opportunities with large partners, it's really, really common for 80-20 splits like Eric mentioned, or to have splits where your organization would profit the most. And so I just wanted to point that out, that is a trend, an ongoing trend to some of you newer folks to the entrepreneurial side of doing business. Kelly, same question to you.
I just want to say I want to be like Eric when I grow up.
Right. Don't we all?
He is doing everything spot on. We're so new, our budget, I'm kind of in that flatline stage right now, creating awareness. But Eric, you are just an example of hope and light out there. And everything he said, we're in the grassroots, creating awareness, doing local fundraising, using our board to create those strategic corporate partnerships. So we're starting in COVID was very difficult, but I will say that we're very hopeful because just through all of the efforts, we are creating awareness out there about the foundation, which is critical, and obtaining those strategic alliances. We're doing the slow and steady growth initially as far as our mentoring program, and that's been through the direction of Mentor Virginia and my TA. This year, we'll probably only work with 25 youth to go through the program. It's a very intensive technology-driven program that requires a lot of detailed mentoring. And so I've been advised through Mentor Virginia to do the slow and steady growth. So we're focusing on the youth as a big part of our efforts, but out there trying to get donors as well. And really relying on everything Eric said, the local community, the local chambers, businesses, using your board to make connections is the biggest thing, because being an unknown entity, which I'm not sure how many here today are relatively new in this space, it's an uphill battle, but for me, a great challenging battle. And we have a good cause, that the underlying cause is that at the end of the day to help these youth. So our budget is more in the 200,000 right now, waiting on, we have the $10 million grant, we have another $8 million grant and a little $2 million grant that we're all waiting on. Those grants, Eric would probably tell you, it's hit or miss. You can't guarantee that that's a source of funding. I like the more unrestricted funding sources that you could go to for the corporations. And so now we're doing a big capital campaign with letters to the corporations locally and beyond. We kind of go up and down the East Coast from Ohio, Connecticut, Virginia, and Florida. And so we're working with corporations up and down the East Coast, trying to get those unrestricted funds. That's a big part of it. And then local government funds as well. Thank you, T.
Thank you, Kelly. I do want to close us out of going over our panel questions. I want to thank you all again for preparing and for being willing to come on stage and talk about your growth, because growth can be scary no matter what stage you're in, and putting it all on stage for everyone to see and learn from is really valuable and important. So thank you for being a part of our network. I do want to take the next 8 to 10 minutes or so and just open it up to the audience to see if you have any questions and or comments. I saw a lot of great chat in the chat box, and so I'm going to mute myself and open it up to you all.
Hey T, I had a quick question for the panel. Besides my secret mission of having Eric as my mentor, he's right here in our back door of Alexandria, so definitely have to get on over there. But my question is, we've had some success in getting in the doors with corporate sponsors and actually making key partnership developments with them. My question is, when is the best time to leverage that into dollars? Because they've opened up their doors to access their employees, to become mentors for any of our programs, allow their spaces to be available for programming. When's the best time to kind of say, hey, everything is good, but some money would also be nice too?
Before you guys answer that, I just want to point out to David, I love what you did by acknowledging that you wanted Eric to be your mentor. We are mentoring field. If we can't rely on one another for those relationships, what are we doing in business? And so thank you for putting that out there and reminding us that this is another space and another ways that coffee hours can be used, identifying somebody you want in your life a little bit more closely. So please, without further ado.
Well, I guess I'll answer. And David, we can do coffee and lunch anytime. My door is always open. So, and I'm pretty flexible. I'd say it's called cultivation, donor cultivation, and you cultivate the relationship. So it's almost like dating. So if you want a quick buck, or one night stand with the organization, you could quickly do a cold call ask, but those relationships usually don't last too long. The ones that you actually take the time, you get to know folks, you build that relationship like you're doing by creating a collaborative approach where they're opening their doors, they're getting to know you, let them continue to get to know you, and then create opportunities where it's mutually beneficial, where it's a win-win situation. So you want to consistently create these win-win situations where they can highlight the good that they're doing in the community, as well as highlight how they're opening up their doors. That's a positive PR piece. And so you want to create that opportunity where you say, hey, we'd like to have your first thing, we might want to have an event at your site. And then that highlights the work that they're doing. And the other piece is then you can have a fundraiser attached, but you'll have to have a few events throughout the year that people can come together, see what you're doing, but also, it creates an opportunity for sponsorship and things of that nature. So you definitely want to have an event or two that you can fundraise money, and it's not just them giving you money in a silo.
You're sending more flowers and you're letting them, they're still eating off your plate. They're borrowing your fries, David. Kelly, did you have any follow-up?
Yes, to Erick's point, I don't know how many of you are familiar with a nonprofit called Mobile Hope. They help homeless people, primarily teenage, I'd say 16 to 25 age range, right in our target market. I kept hearing about them. I heard about them through my pastor at church, a lot of community people, and kind of got to know the founders. And to Erick's point, I went and approached them for a meeting about collaboration. I had just read where they received a $75,000 grant from Google that really interested me to form a trade school for their young people. So I thought, great, we work with education and job employment opportunities. So just 2 weeks ago, had an amazing meeting, went to their facility and said, I'd love to collaborate. And you have to go with what value do you add? What do you bring? Again, to Erick's point, what unique offer, what addition, what enhancement can you add to their overall mission? And it was just amazing, the collaboration. And the founder, one of the co-founders, Allison, said, we focus on general trade school like HVAC, electrician, carpentry, but your tech job opportunities are amazing. And so we enrolled 3 people on the spot, 3 young people in our Flight to the Future program, because they didn't want to do the trade piece, but they were very tech savvy. And so they think EOI hung the moon, and we brought breakfast. And again, you want to show up with flowers and have some really great piece that you can add to their overall mission. And since then, the founders have called me like, let me introduce you to the people at Google. Let me introduce you to other community partners, blah, blah, blah. So you kind of have to think out of the box, research different organizations that might line up with yours, and then think of ways of potential collaboration and just approach them. David, to your question, look at what your offerings are and who might best align with your mission and who you can collaborate with, and even corporations. I went to Mobile Hope because I want to meet people at Google, and I'm not afraid to go knock, but what a way to go meet them with an existing nonprofit that just received an award from them. So that would be my advice and what's worked well for me.
Thank you both. And thank you, Eric, for dropping that link Zoom to the webinar on funding trends in the chat. Just because things disappear in chat boxes, if you guys are interested in checking out that link, I would suggest you click on it now so that the window opens, so that when we disconnect, you'll still have access to it. This is my least favorite part of the morning because this has been such a rich conversation, but it is 9:48 a.m. We only have about 12 minutes to go together. But unfortunately for me, I have to pass the mic over to my partner, Sarah, as I have to step out to head to a 10 a.m. training. So it has been my pleasure to host and facilitate our April Community Coffee Hour with you. I hope it is enjoyable. You guys still have a couple more moments for questions and answers, but I do have to bid you adieu. So take care. I'll see you next month.
Thank you, Tiara.
Sarah, it's all.
Thank you.
So as we are winding down, are there any other questions for our wonderful panelists who are really just a wealth of knowledge? So for the next few more minutes, if you want to tap into their genius and their experience, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question.
I have a follow-up from David's question. So I'm also from a new entity, and I'm finding it kind of difficult to have people view my business versus viewing me. And they're, I don't even know if that makes sense, but they're inquiring about services that I can provide as the individual instead of looking at the entity as a whole. How do you navigate that space, or how would you?
I think it just depends on your role within your organization. If you're a line employee versus an executive at the you know, at the place you're at, that's critical. I think you're always on stage and you're a brand in and of yourself. So if you're a line employee and people want to you want your specific services, then that may be an indicator that you bring a level of value that outside of, you know, what your role is. And so that may be an opportunity. But you're always a brand in and of yourself, and you could sell your program based on what you bring to the table. Just like I put in the chat, please link with me on LinkedIn. Everybody, that's for everybody, and leverage LinkedIn because there's a lot of connections that can be made through LinkedIn. You never know where paths will cross. But hopefully that helps to answer the question. I know Kelly probably has a great answer too.
Sorry, my mute button wouldn't work. I've been approached a little bit in that same regard. Is it Tuesday? Is that how? I don't want to butcher your name.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, thank you. Especially having a lot of experience in banking and finance. And I just always try to turn it around. To Erick's point, you are a brand, and some people will ask you to do specific work. I always turn it back to how can we collaborate? How can we help one another? When they say, can you do this? Can you represent? Can you come speak? I try to not turn it around, but say, I'd love to, but let's see how we can work together, foundation to foundation, or organization to organization, or if they're just a company wanting your services, tell me more about your company, that maybe we can have potential collaborative opportunities, because it's very difficult, but Erick's spot on. You're a brand, and sometimes they not only want your services, but they want them at no cost. So it's a very fine line to dance. And I just try to show up and say, well, this is great. I'm happy to help, but tell me what you can do and what we can do together. And it usually kind of helps to make it a mutually beneficial potential partnership.
Thank you, Bill.
If I can add one more thing, definitely everybody connect on LinkedIn and any kind of social media. It's great to follow each other on social media. And most importantly on LinkedIn, I met some amazing connections there, and actually have had companies reach out to me, tell me a little bit more about your organization. And, when I respond and look at their LinkedIn profile, I always look at their connections. How can we learn from one another? I'm a very collaborative minded person, and I just think we truly are all in this together. And like I said earlier, some people play nicer than others in this space. You just weed out the bad ones, if you will. But I've just been amazed at the community of support that people in the nonprofit space, particularly working with foster youth or young people, underserved youth, that they truly want to help the cause, the greater cause, and they're willing to work together. So I'm happy to make any introductions. I'm a newbie. Erick could definitely be a greater resource, but we're all at different junctures in our career path with our goals here. So I'm more than happy to help and look forward to doing so.
Are there any final quick questions before we move into, we're going to vote on next month's topic. So that is something we're going to do before we wrap up. But if there are any final questions. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and launch this poll then. So what topic would you like to discuss for May's Community Coffee Hour? So the options here are using cognitive behavioral therapy interventions and mentoring programs, strategies for mentor retention, mentoring in the era of climate change, supporting youth while combating despair, or mentoring in mental health, zooming in on the impacts of social media on youth. So I'll leave that open. Give folks a chance to take that. About 76% of folks have taken it, so just a few more seconds here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and end this. And we had it was pretty close between mentor retention and zooming in on the impacts of social media on youth, but it looks like for this next one, the mentoring and mental health and thinking about social media and how that all kind of relates back to mentoring is the winning topic. So we will do our best to bring you some great speakers for that for next month. And as we are wrapping up, I did want to share just a couple of final announcements with you. So I don't know if y'all have heard of this excellent new resource that has come out yet. It is called Becoming a Better Mentor, Strategies to Be There for Young People. This is a resource that came out for Mentor earlier this year, and it is a completely free resource that really dives into, there are like 12, I think, chapters that dig into different topics around how mentors can really strengthen their skill sets. So this can be an excellent tool for you all at the program level. You can provide this information to your mentors. And then we also have the ability, by working with Tiara, who was on this call earlier leading the panel discussion, she can help build some deep dive workshops into some of these topics as well, if that is of interest. So just, I'll be sharing this link out in the final email, so you'll be able to access this, but it is also on our website if you're curious and want to take a look at that. Some of you have already joined this, but for those who haven't, we do have a free mentor recruitment database that is operated at the national level. And it, again, is totally free, kind of operates like volunteer match or hands-on Greater Richmond, if you're familiar with those, but it is just for mentoring programs and mentoring opportunities. So you can enroll your program and then start to recruit mentors. And we can also, it provides an opportunity for us when we have parents or school counselors who are calling and asking about mentoring programs for young people around the state. We use this database to then bring mentees to those programs as well. And when mentors contact us, we also send them to this database. So can provide more information on joining this. It's called the Mentoring Connector. And it is a great tool. It just got a new refresh last December. So it is really user-friendly, and when we do recruitment campaigns and when Mentor National does recruitment campaigns, we drive all of our traffic to this database. So it is a great way to diversify your mentor recruitment strategy. And then lastly, we've had some great, completely unsolicited. We did not plant Kelly, but she has been a great advocate for our no-cost technical assistance program today, talking about Allison Roberts, who has been her TA provider. And we also had a great shout out in the chat earlier for Tammy Mobley, who's another consultant. So just know that there are folks on our team who are available to assist in any ways. If you're developing a new program, if you're looking for funding opportunities, you're wanting to build out trainings, or just any sort of specialty area where your program could benefit from support, just know that we do have that, and it does not cost your program anything. And lastly, I'm going to stop sharing and just drop a quick survey in the chat. Please let us know how we did today. Let us know how we can continue to bring great relevant topics and speakers to y'all in the future. And just want to, again, thank our wonderful panelists, Kelly Ryan and Eric King, for your time and your expertise today. And if it's, y'all can connect with them on LinkedIn. I can also share out their emails if Eric and Kelly, that's okay with you, in the follow-up email, so that folks can reach you through that way as well. Oh, and Kelly dropped her email in the chat. Perfect. Thank you all for joining us today. I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday, and we will see you next month for May's Coffee Hour.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.